What's going on, guys? It's your man Jay. So in this video, we're going to talk about should you buy the Galaxy Z Flip or one of the S20s or just some other Samsung device. Now, obviously, if you're into folding phones and you're trying to go with the industry and get involved in that arena of the smartphone world, you probably should go ahead and buy the Galaxy Z Flip or buy the first generation Galaxy Fold. I recommend those. The Motorola Razr costs more than both of those, and on paper, the specs, let's just be honest, they're a lot less. And I can't push forward to tell a person to pay $1,500 for a phone that has a Snapdragon 700 series in it. I don't know what they were thinking, but it is what it is. So, the Galaxy Z Flip. If you're in the market to buy the Galaxy Z Flip, I think what I would recommend you do is you hit a store and you go ahead and play with the phone for a little bit, get some hands-on feel to it to see if you're gonna like the form factor. Because honestly, it didn't take me long to like the form factor. It's just a matter of, from my perspective, of all the devices, I liked the Galaxy Z Flip and I liked the Galaxy S20. Bigger phones, I'm trying to avoid those altogether. And folks, if you have never held, which I know you haven't, so I suggest that you get over to AT&T and pick up the Galaxy S20 Ultra. It is huge. It may be a little bit narrow, but it is big, folks. I've seen it in person. It's a big phone. So before you Ultra fans get out there just to think that you're going to have the biggest and baddest, that's a huge phone. Like, for real, for real. So the Galaxy Z Flip and the S20 were the ones that I pulled away from that event that I would even consider giving my money to. And then turns out with the Galaxy Z Flip, they kind of messed me over on the trade. They didn't even give me, they didn't want to give me they only wanted to give me $350 for my Pixel 4 XL, and they're crazy. And so I kicked out the cash, man, and got the Z Flip for the $1,400, the $1,380. And then I paid the $80 for the case. So, do I have any regrets? I don't have any regrets, but I'm going to tell you, don't do it. Don't do like I did. I obviously had the money to do it, but that doesn't mean I made the best choice or the smartest purchase. I'm a realist. I'm an honest person. I'm not a fool. And if a person says, Jay, that's a lot of money, I don't disagree. It's a lot of money. But I wanted to check it out for myself, and I wanted to get my hands on it so I can kind of get some type of review going over here, because to see if it's a phone that I'd actually want to use every day. Now, I think now that the hype has worn off, reality set in. I may be a tech reviewer, but reality set in. Should I probably have just gone with the S20? Well, I would have been kind of settling if I would have done that. I would have been kind of settling a little bit, and I would have been, just kind of buying the S20 because I could get my trade-in, a better deal on trade-in. So I'm glad that I bought the Galaxy Z Flip, and I was one of the first persons to have it like a regular consumer, if you will. Even though I'm a tech reviewer, I bought it as a regular consumer. I didn't get it free from Samsung. But I will tell you this, because a lot of you guys have asked, Jay, should I buy it? I would tell you, since a lot of you guys value my opinion, and I didn't know that. I didn't know that many people really valued my opinion. I would tell you, don't buy it right now. Even if you can get it for $1,000, in the end, my final price was about $900 or so, because I got a coupon, or I had some credits. And so ultimately, I didn't even pay the full $1,400. Up front, I paid the full $1,400, but then I applied my credits afterwards. And my final price was about $900 out of the door. Even at that price point, flip phones or the flip smartphones and the Z Flip is still very fragile. And like every other smartphone is fragile, but the warranties that come along with the Z Flip are different. They'll only repair the screen once, and then you're on your own. And even then, you have to pay $100. And then we don't know what it costs after that. At least I didn't research what it costs after that. If I break my screen, I get that $100, and I get to get it repaired that first time within 12 months. But after that, what about the people who can't afford to keep switching phones or doesn't have 15 smartphones laying on their desk? Consumers should really think twice about like jumping out there and buying the Z Flip on this first rotation. Now, even though this is their second iteration of a flip phone, I highly recommend that you wait. Even me as an influencer, I'm going to tell you to wait. It's kind of crazy. As much as I like the phone, it's still hard for me to recommend phones that are like over $500, even over $700 possibly, especially if they're even more fragile and can break even easier. It's hard to do it. So, I just feel some type of way about recommending it. I say if it's in your, okay, now there was a person who made a comment and they say, worth or value is on the person. Someone says to this, can you afford it or something like that? If you can afford it, then you determine whether you think it's worth it or not. That's obvious. Obviously, I can afford it, but is it worth it? To me, at the $900 price point, totally worth it that I got it for. I saved $500 ultimately, or a little bit more than $500. So ultimately, it's worth it to me. Is it worth the convenience though when it comes down to this not having like a full glass screen and it's got like all this controversy over the screen? I don't disagree with what the people are saying. I just don't get involved with too much of the drama and the gossip online. I try to avoid it at all costs. I haven't even commented on, I don't really use Twitter. I just use Twitter. People message me on Twitter, and that's the only time I've been on Twitter. And if you see posts on Twitter, it's just coming directly from my website. When I post a post on the website, it automatically launches to Twitter, which is the way I have it set up. But I technically just haven't been on Twitter, and I'm sure when I did go on there to check some messages, I was just looking like, there's so much stuff on here I don't want to be involved in. But in the end, I think the people who are kind of trashing or talking bad about the display, I don't disagree with them. I mean, I don't want to get involved in that, but they're not wrong. I mean, Samsung said, hey, this is a glass display. You're bending the future. Technically, it's got glass, it's got metal, then a little sheet of, the world's thinnest sheet of glass, if anything, and then plastic ultimately. And in my video, my unboxing video, I think I put like a little disclaimer up saying, you don't have to say all these things. I already know these things. There's other reviewers out there who tore down the Z Flip, and they kind of said, hey, it does have glass, and other reviewers say it doesn't have glass, and I don't got time for it. I don't want to get involved with that. But I will tell you this, I don't disagree with any of those parties, because I have the phone, and the phone is not, it feels like glass, but since they've done the teardowns and they've done everything, I can tell you it feels like glass. But if it's not, then, Samsung, you got to come with it. I can't recommend people to buy something that's going to break really easy on them. And if you don't have a trade-in, that means you're kicking out $1,400. If you don't have any special credits or anything like I had, that means you're kicking out $1,400. And folks, it's totally not worth it. I've said it before. To me, $1,400 on a phone, it's gonna have to be fantastic, man. And whatever that is, still isn't enough. Because a phone isn't an investment. It's something that you waste money on immediately. It depreciates immediately. So the Z Flip, you probably shouldn't buy it right now. And that's just the truth. Even though I bought it, even though I even got it at a lower cost than the $1,400, in the end, I'm still not going to tell you, I think like a final, if you just really ask me, if we're dealing in an arena of people who actually want to spend that kind of money, then okay, go ahead and spend it. I would definitely get the Z Flip over the Galaxy Fold. I would definitely get the Z Flip over the Motorola Razr. But even at my $900 pocket price point that I got it at to put it in my pocket, in the end, I still can't tell a consumer. I still don't feel right telling a consumer to go pick this phone up, because some consumers might be a little rough on phones. They might not. I've seen people put their phones in their back pocket and sit down, and to me, I don't do that, but a lot of consumers do. A lot of people do that. And then when it comes to just the user interface, it's the same as every other Samsung phone. Let's just be honest here. I'm not gonna milk it and say it's great just because I like the phone. It is the exact same phone software. And so with that being said, go ahead and lean over to the Galaxy S10 Lite, the A71, the Galaxy Note 10 Lite. If you want to save even more money than you're going to save from buying the S20, even the S10s, you know. The reason I recommend the the Galaxy A71 and 51, S10 Lite, Note 10 Lite is because they have everything right up front. They've got the latest software and the latest One UI. Some of the S10 devices, Galaxy Note 9s, we don't know when those are actually going to stay up to date or keep official. So, but Samsung has been getting really good about doing the updates on their devices. So I applaud them for that. But, you know, ultimately, you make the choice whether you feel like you want to swipe your card for $1,400. And some people might say, well, Jay, I don't pay $1,400. I'm financing through Sprint. You're still paying $1,400. You're just stretching it out over time. And that's even worse to me because, you know, paying for phones monthly, it's okay if you're not going that high. If you're just financing something that's like $500 or less, you can probably go ahead and pay that off at any given time. Most people can. I don't know for sure, but some people can just pay that off ultimately right up front. Just like if you get tired of paying monthly, and those payments are going to be a lot less more than likely too. So the Galaxy Fold, though, stretching out $1,400 over 3 years or 2 years, that's an expensive deal. And I think if you, I mean, I don't know how AT&T and Sprint works, but I know if T-Mobile had it and that phone was $1,500, you get ready to pay like $500 to $800 down just to get the phone. So that's the cost of another phone, 2, 3 other phones, you know. So if you're just really into the Samsung ecosystem and you just like their operating system or their scan, the way it's set up, A71, A51, Galaxy Note 10 Lite, Galaxy S10 Lite, Galaxy S10. There's Galaxy Note 10. There's too many other phones out there that you can get great deals on right now that probably will last longer. So to all the people that think that I'm naive to not address, to state the obviously the phone, you should not spend that much on a phone. And then it's a phone that can be damaged really easy. I can't co-sign or get on camera and honestly tell you, spend your money. No, no, no. I often tell people don't do what I do because in most cases, I'm doing hashtag impulse. So if you made it to this point in the video, hashtag impulse, which is what a lot of people do, whether they want to admit it or not. A lot of purchases are impulse purchases. So especially if you don't need it, like people who have the A70 and they want the A71, this is a common question I have. I always tell them, do something with your A70 first, like donate it, give it to your mom, give it to your brother, you know, cut the cord and make sure that phone is still going to get some use. That way you know you're getting your money's worth, and then go buy the A71 or sell your A70. You know, don't stack up a bunch of phones like I do. It's a waste of money to have a bunch of phones stacked up. But the difference between me and you more than likely is I get a lot of return, and I'm transparent. I get a lot of return on YouTube fundings coming back in. So the stuff ultimately is paid for by YouTube. That's the only difference. If I didn't have YouTube revenue coming in, or like the deals that I do for reviews and stuff like that, your man will have one phone. Probably be a BlackBerry Passport only, you know, or some kind of Android, a Pixel 4, you know, or an iPhone 11 Pro, not the Max, something, you know. So you make the choice, you know what I'm saying? If you want to kick out the money for the Z Flip, buy it, man. I can't tell you not to, but you can't ask me all the time if something's worth it like that. It doesn't matter if it's just a Z Flip, because we all have different pockets and we all spend our money differently, and we're just in different places in our lives. So it's when you ask another person, is it worth it? You know, you're ultimately you're in your subconscious trying to get them to justify what you're about to buy, and you can't do that. So you got to just buy it and try it, and if you don't like it, return it or sell it, whatever. So it's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed discussion video. Should you buy the Galaxy Z Flip? Probably not. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.